Lost in a pitch-black tunnel beneath the lodge, Emma and Jack's relationship reaches a turning point, as shared vulnerability leads to an undeniable attraction. Hold on to your hard hats, explorers, because this tunnel is about to lead to some very unexplored territory. Chapter 8. Into the Dark. Emma's heart pounded as she stared into the inky blackness of the tunnel. Jack stood beside her, his presence both reassuring and nerve-wracking.
Well,
Jack said, his voice echoing slightly in the narrow space.
I guess it's time to channel our inner Indiana Jones.
Emma laughed, the sound tinged with nervousness.
I don't suppose you have a whip and fedora hidden in that jacket of yours?
Sadly, no.
Jack grinned, pulling out his phone.
But I do have this state-of-the-art flashlight app, shall we?
Taking a deep breath, Emma nodded. Together, they stepped into the darkness. The beam from Jack's phone cut through the gloom, revealing rough stone walls glistening with moisture. Their footsteps echoed ominously, and Emma found herself instinctively moving closer to Jack.
So,
Jack said, his voice unnaturally loud in the confined space.
Come here often?
Emma snorted.
Oh yes, all the time. It's my favorite shortcut to wherever this leads.
Probably a secret underground lair.
Jack mused.
Every good mountain lodge has one, you know.
Their banter continued as they made their way deeper into the tunnel, each joke a thin veneer over their growing unease. Emma was acutely aware of Jack's proximity, the warmth of his body a stark contrast to the cool, damp air around them. Suddenly, Jack's phone flickered, the light dimming ominously.
Uh-oh.
Jack muttered, tapping frantically at the screen.
No.
The light went out, plunging them into total darkness.
It's okay.
Jack said quickly, his voice tight with forced calm.
Emma, can you try your phone?
Emma fumbled in her pocket, her hands shaking slightly as she pulled out her device. She tapped the screen, praying for it to light up. Nothing happened.
It's dead.
She whispered, panic rising in her chest.
Jack, it's dead. We're in the dark. We can't see anything. We don't know where we are or where we're going or...
Hey.
Jack's voice came from her left, closer than she expected. She felt his hand find hers, warm and solid.
It's okay, Emma. We're okay. Take a deep breath with me, all right? In and out. That's it.
Emma focused on Jack's voice, on the steady rhythm of his breathing. Slowly, she felt her racing heart begin to slow.
Right.
Jack said, his voice reassuringly calm.
We can't go back, so we keep moving forward. Stay close to the wall and we'll take it slow, one step at a time.
They inched forward, Emma's free hand trailing along the rough stone wall. Jack's grip on her other hand remained firm, anchoring her in the darkness. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the sound of their breathing and the occasional drip of water from unseen crevices. Time seemed to lose all meaning in the pitch-black tunnel. It could have been minutes or hours that they shuffled along, every step careful and measured. Emma's world narrowed to the feel of the damp stone under her fingertips and the warmth of Jack's hand in hers.
Tell me something.
Jack said after what felt like an eternity of silence.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
Emma was grateful for the distraction.
Probably the summer I spent at my grandparents' farm. I learned to ride a horse and helped gather eggs every morning.
That sounds amazing.
Jack said warmly.
I bet you were a natural on horseback.
Hardly.
Emma chuckled.
I fell off more times than I can count. But my grandfather always said, it's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up.
They continued like this, Jack asking questions, sharing stories, doing everything he could to keep Emma's mind off their predicament. He told her about his first disastrous attempt at coding, which resulted in accidentally deleting his entire high school's grading system. She shared the embarrassing story of how she once diagnosed herself with a rare tropical disease after reading too many medical journals, only to discover it was just a common cold. As they talked, laughed, and slowly made their way through the darkness, Emma found herself feeling surprisingly at ease despite their situation. Jack's unwavering optimism and genuine interest in her stories were like a lifeline in the blackness.
You know,
Emma said during a lull in their conversation.
I think this is the longest I've talked to anyone in, well, years probably.
I'm honored.
Jack replied, and she could hear the smile in his voice.
Though I have to say, being trapped in a dark tunnel with you is turning out to be far more enjoyable than I expected.
Is that so?
Emma teased, feeling a flutter in her stomach that had nothing to do with fear.
Absolutely.
Jack said softly.
In fact, there's something I've been wanting to do since we started this little adventure.
What's that?
Emma asked, her heart suddenly racing.
This.
Jack whispered, and then his lips were on hers, soft and tentative at first, then with growing intensity. Emma melted into the kiss, all thoughts of fear and darkness forgotten as she lost herself in the sensation. When they finally broke apart, both slightly breathless, Emma was glad for the darkness hiding her flushed cheeks.
Well,
Jack said, his voice husky.
That's certainly one way to pass the time in a creepy tunnel.
Emma laughed, feeling lightheaded and giddy.
Who knew being trapped underground could be so enlightening?
They continued on, the air between them now charged with a new energy. Emma found herself imagining a future with Jack. Lazy Sunday mornings, heated debates over dinner, adventures in far-flung places. It was a dangerous line of thinking, she knew, but in the darkness of the tunnel, it felt safe to dream. Just as Emma was beginning to wonder if they'd be trapped in the darkness forever, a faint glow appeared ahead. They quickened their pace, hope rising with each step. The tunnel ended abruptly, opening into a small room with a ladder leading up to a trapdoor. Faint light seeped through the cracks.
Ladies first?
Jack offered with a grin. Emma climbed the ladder, pushing against the trapdoor. It swung open easily, and she found herself blinking in the sudden light of the lodge's great room.
What the?
Jack said, emerging behind her. They stood bewildered as Alex walked in, a mug of cocoa in hand. He stopped short at the sight of them.
Emma, Jack, where did you guys come from?
The maintenance building.
Emma said, still trying to process their surroundings.
Through a tunnel. Why didn't you tell us about it?
Alex's face scrunched up in confusion, then cleared with sudden realization.
Oh, the old bootlegger's tunnel. I completely forgot about that. The door's been stuck for years. We lost the key ages ago.
Jack and Emma exchanged a look of disbelief before bursting into laughter. The next few hours passed in a blur of hot showers, explanations, and an impromptu celebration. As evening fell, Emma found herself on one of the lodge's viewing decks, a glass of champagne in hand. The stars twinkled overhead, and a cozy fire crackled in the outdoor fireplace. Jack joined her, 2 fresh glasses in hand.
Quite a day, huh?
He said, handing her a glass.
That's an understatement.
Emma chuckled, accepting the drink. Their fingers brushed, sending a jolt of electricity through her. They stood in comfortable silence, sipping champagne and watching the stars. Emma was acutely aware of Jack's presence beside her, of the way the firelight danced across his features. The events of the day swirled in her mind, the darkness of the tunnel, the fear, the exhilaration of their first kiss, the relief of their return. It all seemed to have led to this moment. Jack set his glass down on the railing and turned to face her. His eyes met hers, and Emma felt her breath catch. There was an intensity in his gaze that sent a shiver down her spine. Not just desire, but something deeper, more profound. Slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, Jack reached out and tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear. His hand lingered, cupping her cheek gently. Emma leaned into his touch, her eyes never leaving his. No words were needed. The air between them crackled with unspoken emotion. Emma set her own glass down, freeing her hands to rest on Jack's chest. She could feel his heart racing beneath her palms, matching the frantic rhythm of her own. Jack's thumb traced the line of her cheekbone, then ghosted over her lips. Emma's eyes fluttered closed at the sensation. When she opened them again, Jack was even closer, his intention clear in every line of his body. This time, it was Emma who closed the distance between them. Their lips met in a kiss that was at once familiar and thrillingly new. Gone was the hesitation of their first kiss in the tunnel. This was a kiss of recognition, of 2 people discovering something precious, and unexpected in each other. Emma's hand slid up to tangle in Jack's hair as the kiss deepened. Jack's arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her flush against him. The warmth of the fire, the cool mountain air, the taste of champagne on Jack's lips. Every sensation seemed heightened, electric. When they finally broke apart, both breathless and flushed, Jack rested his forehead against Emma's. For a long moment, they simply stood there, sharing the same air, hearts beating in tandem.
Emma.
Jack whispered, his voice rough with emotion. She understood without him needing to say more.
Yes.
She breathed, answering the unspoken question in his eyes. Hand in hand, they made their way back into the lodge. As the door closed behind them, the stars continued to twinkle overhead, bearing silent witness to the beginning of something new and wonderful.